WRAW, your number one music and information station with George Benson, and turn your love around and don't you turn me down. It's 12:09, 9 minutes after 12 o'clock, lunchtime on a Friday with Bill Maxwell in for Nick Harris this afternoon. We'll be heading into a $1 million weekend coming up at 3 o'clock, and music by the Beach Boys is coming up next.
Buy a Ford till 9.
Music Radio 1340 WRAW with Journey, good sound from their Escape LP, and here I am with open arms, so don't turn me away. Also heard Kenny Rogers and Through the Years and the Beach Boys from 1964 and Don't Worry Baby. 22 minutes after 12 o'clock with Bill Maxwell in for Nick Harris this morning, or make that this afternoon. The WRAW official weather forecast, partly sunny this afternoon with a high 36, becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight tonight. Have a low tonight 25, and the snow will end tomorrow morning, and we'll have partial clearing by the afternoon with a high of 32. Right now it's 33 in Reading.
This is a...
Don't you know I love you?
Music Radio 1340 WRAW, future hit music mind, Grover Washington Jr., and you know I love you, so won't you be mine tonight. 12:27 with Bell, got a very special weekend coming up at 3 o'clock, a Valentine Heart Weekend, your chance to win a real special present for your loved one. So keep it here, we'll kick it off that $1 million weekend coming up at 3 o'clock. WRAW, Barronville's radio station with Buckner and Garcia. I got Pac-Man fever and I don't see any kind of cure in sight. I think I'm in trouble. Also heard Neil Diamond and Sweet Caroline and Juice Newton and Queen of Hearts. 12:37 with Bill Maxwell in for Nick Harris this afternoon. Hi.
Performance toy.
WRAW, Music Radio 1340. That's Fleetwood Mac from 1977 and Dreams. Also heard Quarter Flash. It's 12:48 with Bill with a reminder from the Music Men. If your club or fellow workers would like to learn cardiopulmonary resuscitation, otherwise known as CPR, contact the Red Cross at 375-4383 to arrange for a class. And those classes can be held at a club, a business, or at the Red Cross. And remember, if it's happening, you'll hear it on Music Radio 1340. Music Radio 1340 WRAW with Chilliwack. It's from their album If You Want to Be a Star, You Gotta Believe, and especially if you're in radio. Right, Nick? Yeah, right. 12:51, 9 minutes away from 1 o'clock with Bill Maxwell in for Nick Harris, who was in this morning for Rick Ryder, and I'll tell you a little bit later on next hour how that came about. So keep it on Music Radio. Roby's coming up at 12:55 with the latest news, sports, and weather information. But after Sister Sledge from the album Sisters, and my God.
Nothing you do.
WRAW, your number one music and information station. Hello, it's me again. That's Sister Sledge. 12:55 with Bill. They did it to me again. Roby will be coming up at 12:58 with the latest news, weather, and sports information. Right after Placido Domingo and John Denver and Perhaps Love on WRAW.
Perhaps.
WRAW with all the songs you and I grew up with from 1958, Little Anthony and the Imperials and Tears in My Pillow. 2 minutes after 1 o'clock with Bill, and you can wake up with Reading's original morning team. Rick Ryder will be here to play your favorites. Don Greth with news and information, and Tom Quinn will keep you up to date with sports, and they'll get you up and out the door Monday through Friday mornings from 6 till 10, right here on WRAW. WRAW, Reading's radio station with the Carpenters, and Touch Me With That Loving Touch when we're dancing. It's 5 minutes after 1 o'clock with Bill Maxwell in for Nick Harris this afternoon, and Nick was on the morning show for Rick Ryder. Now, how that came about, we had to pick straws to see who was going to do the morning show for Rick, and don't tell Nick, but I actually picked the short straw. But you see, Nick Harris can't see too well, so I cheated a little bit and made it look like he had the short one. Don't tell him, though. He might get mad. Music Radio 1340 WRAW with ABBA. There's no hurry anymore when all is said and done. Also heard Ray Parker Jr. in radio, and you can't change that from 1979. Of Dan Fogelberg and the leader of the band. 20 minutes after 1 o'clock with Bill Maxwell and for Nick Harris this afternoon. Here are the Oak Ridge Boys with Bob is Due.
I heard it.
WRAW, your number one music and information station with a good sound by the Oak Ridge Boys. That's Bob is Sue. Better get that guy to a hospital. It's like sounds just like he ran out of gas. 122 with Bill Maxwell, the WRAW official weather forecast. Partly sunny this afternoon with a high of 36. Going to be a nice day, but becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight. Have a low tonight of 25, and the snow will end hopefully tomorrow morning. Hopefully we won't have any at all. Partial clearing tomorrow afternoon with a high of 32. Right now, 35 in Reading with a future hit by Stevie Wonder. WRAW, Reading's radio station, future hit music by Stevie Wonder. I love her and I want her, and nobody will stop me from getting her. That's That Girl. It's 27 minutes after 1 o'clock with Bill Maxwell. We'll be heading into a $1 million weekend coming up at 3 o'clock. You'll have a chance to be a winner on this special Valentine's weekend coming up later this afternoon on WRAW. WRAW, St. Lawrence's radio station. That's Sheeny Easton. You could have been with me. Also heard Maxine Nightingale, Lead Me On, and the Fortunes. You've got your troubles and I've got mine. It's 1:37 with Bill Maxwell and for Nick Harris this afternoon. Music by Cliff Richard is coming up next.
I'm not 1,000 miles away.
Music Radio 1340 WRAW with Cliff Richard from his album Wired for Sound and Daddy's Home. It's 1:42 with Bell, 17 minutes away from 2 o'clock. And coming up at 2 o'clock, I'll lose some weight, get a little taller as I turn back into Bill Maxwell from Nick Harris. What a relief. Here's Paul Davis and Cool Nights on WRAW. WRAW, the station you grew up with from 1969. What I wouldn't give right now for some hot fun in the summertime. That's Sly and the Family Stone. 148 with Bill, with a reminder from the Music Man, the Lower Allstate Memorial Post. 8993 is sponsoring an all-you-can-eat spaghetti dinner. That's happening today. It's starting at 4 o'clock. I was talking to the cook last night. Said it's going to be real good spaghetti. So if you're a spaghetti lover, man, you want to go to that place for sure, because they'll also feature a live band. That happens today at 4. And remember, if it's happening, you'll hear it on Music Radio 1340. WRAW, your number one music and information station with Daryl Hall and John Oates. And No Can Do, I Can't Go For That from their Private Eyes album. It's 152 with Bill and Roby Easter is coming up at 155 with the latest news, weather, and sports information right after Alabama, Guilty of Love in the First Degree.
I want a sunny day.
WRAW, Reading's radio station with Eddie Rabbit, who I'm driving my life away. 3 minutes after 2 o'clock with Bill Maxwell on a good-looking Friday afternoon, coming into $1 million weekend, coming up at 3 o'clock. Yeah, the Four Tops. WRAW with all the songs you grew up with. 1965 Gold by the Four Tops. It's the same old song. 6 minutes after 2 o'clock with Bill. We're just about an hour away from your chance to call the love phone and win some real special prizes for your sweetheart on this $1 million Valentine's weekend from WRAW. Music Radio 1340 WRAW. Diana Ross, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. All you're good for is 7 years bad luck. That's from her album Why Do Fools Fall in Love. It's 11 minutes after 2 o'clock with Bill Maxwell on a good-looking Friday afternoon. Here's a Little River Band and Take It Easy on Me.
It used to be so
WRAW, Music Radio 1340. I always admired his initials, Barry Manilow. And somewhere down the road, we're going to meet again. Also heard Jennifer Warren from 1979. 222 with Bill Maxwell, the WRAW official weather forecast. Partly sunny this afternoon. Have a high of 36. Going to be a nice day, but becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight. A low tonight, 25, and the snow will end tomorrow morning. And we'll have partial clearing by the afternoon tomorrow with a high of 32. Right now, 35 in Reading at WRAW. WRAW, Stonersville's radio station. Future hit music by Neil Diamond. Title cut from his album On the Way to the Sky. It's 2:26 with Bill Maxwell. 34 minutes away from kicking off $1 million weekend. Your chance to be a winner coming up at 3 o'clock. Let's kick off 3 in a row with the Casinos from 1967. WRAW, Music Radio 1340 with Kim Carnes from Mistaken Identity. By request, that's Betty Davis Eyes. Also heard Anne Murray from 73 with Danny's Song. 2:36 with Bill Maxwell, and you can tune in for Reading's most exciting talk show. That's The Nightmare with Don Greth. That'll be here tonight from 9 tonight till midnight to answer your questions, comments, and complaints on WRAW. WRAW, your number one music and information station with air supply. Close your eyes. I want to see it tonight in my sweet dreams. It's 2:42 with Bill Maxwell heading down that back stretch toward that $1 million weekend coming up at 3 o'clock. Here are the Beach Boys. WRAW with all the songs you grew up with. 1967 Gold by the Turtles. So happy together. 2:48 with Bill Maxwell with a reminder from the Music Men. If you're interested in learning another culture or sharing your own, call the American Intercultural Student Exchange at 412-531-2119 to find out more information. And you can have a student in your home from abroad for the 1982-83 school year. And remember, if it's happening, you'll hear it on Music Radio 1340. WRAW, your number one music and information station with Olivia Newton-John from her physical LP and Make a Move on Me. Come on, baby. 2:51 with Bill, the WRAW official weather forecast looking good for this day anyway. Partly sunny this afternoon with a high of 36, but becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight. Have a low of 25, and that snow will end tomorrow morning and become partial clearing by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 32. Right now, 34 in Reading with Eddie Rabbit from Step by Step. WRAW, Reading's radio station with Eddie Rabbit from Step by Step. And someone could lose a heart tonight. 2:54 with Bill Maxwell, 5 minutes away from 3 o'clock and $1 million weekend. And your chance to win a romantic lunch for two at Bully Lions. And also a special Valentine plan from Hoy's Flower Shop. And it's all for your loved ones this weekend from WRAW. Here's John Stewart turning that music into gold.
When the lights
WRAW with the greatest hits of all time and $1 million weekend from 1972. That's the Moody Blues. Good song to kick off the Valentine weekend. That's Nights in White Satin. 3 minutes after 3 o'clock with Bill Maxwell. Good afternoon. This weekend, the sound of the Valentine heart means special prizes for you and your loved one. Listen to win from WRAW.
For our next trick,
Music Radio 1340 WRAW. That's for Frankie and Mayfair, Pac-Man Fever, and Buckner and Garcia. Also heard Boz Skaggs from his hits album and Miss Sun. 3:21 with Bell, the WRAW official weather forecast. Partly sunny this afternoon with a high of 36. Becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight. Have a low tonight of 25, and the snow will end tomorrow morning with partial clearing tomorrow afternoon with a high of 32. Right now, 35 in Reading. At Barbara Moss in the Fairgrounds Square Mall. Barbara Moss, where the nicest clothes hang out. WRAW, if you're the 13th caller right now on the Love Phone, you'll win a romantic lunch for two for you and your sweetheart, plus a special Valentine plan from Hoy's Flower Shop. 13th caller at 372-1340 wins on WRAW. WRAW, Music Radio 1340 with Huey Lewis and the news. And do you believe in love? And I sure do, especially this weekend. 27 minutes after 3 o'clock with Bell. We're congratulating Lorraine Clements of Hamburg. She won a romantic lunch for two at Bully Lions with her special Valentine. And she also wins a Valentine plan from Hoy's Flower Shop. Now you keep it on Music Radio for your chance to win all this weekend in the $1 million weekend on WRAW.
you think?
WRAW, Music Radio 1340. Just love that song by Journey. It's from their Escape LP and Open Arms. Also heard the Commodores and Olivia Newton-John. And Don't Stop Believing. 3:37 with Bill once again congratulating Lorraine Clements of Hamburg. She won a romantic lunch for two for her and her sweetheart, who, by the way, I didn't get the name of. So, Lorraine, if you're listening, why don't you give me a call back and I'll pass that on. And you also win a special Valentine plan from the Hoy's Flower Shop. And it's all for your loved one this weekend from WRAW. WRAW with the greatest hits of all time and $1 million weekend with the Stone Ponies and different drum. It's back-to-back with Lindsey Buckingham in Trouble. 3:47 with Bill Maxwell. The WRAW official weather forecast becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight. Have a low tonight 25. The snow will end tomorrow morning with partial clearing by tomorrow afternoon and a high at 32. Right now, 34 in Reading.
Bustin. Griffith and Bixler, Route 625, the New Holland Road.
WRAW with a reminder from the Music Men. Beacon Lodge, a camp for the blind, is now planning its summer 1982 program. For more information or for request forms, write Beacon Lodge, Camp for the Blind, P.O. Box 428 in Lewistown, zip code 17044. And remember, if it's happening, you'll hear it on Music Radio 1340. WRAW Music Radio 1340 with the Oak Ridge Boys. Good sound. That's Bobby Sue. 351 with Bill Maxwell getting kind of wild right now. It's $1 Million Weekend of Music Radio. So listen for the sound of the Valentine Heart. That means special prizes for you and your loved one. Listen to Call In and Win from WRAW. WRAW and $1 Million Weekend with Chilliwack from their album Wanna Be a Star and I Believe in You and Me. And nothing's gonna change my mind. 355 with Bill Maxwell. Roby Euster is coming up at 358 with the latest news, sports, and weather information. Right after we go back to 1977 with Bob Welch from his album French Kiss. And Sentimental Ladies on WRAW. WRAW with the greatest hits of all time and $1 Million Weekend with Randy Van Wormer. Just when I needed you most, you split. 4 minutes after 4 o'clock with Bill Maxwell. Let's go back to 1966 with the Left Bank and Walk Away Renee.
Woman, you turn me down. Every woman needs a man. I can show you how. Girl, I'm not the woman. Don't you turn me down.
WRAW and $1 Million Weekend with George Benson and Turn Your Love Around and Around and Around. That's back to back with Robert Dupree and Hot Rod Hearts from 1982 years ago. 21 minutes after 4 with Bill playing your cartoons this afternoon. The WRAW official weather forecast becoming cloudy tonight with some snow developing after midnight. Below tonight 25. The snow will end tomorrow morning and then we'll have partial clearing tomorrow afternoon with a high of 32. Right now 33 in Reading.
Performance Toy
Moss in the Fairground Square Mall. Barbara Moss, where the nicest blues hang out. Who was that mascot? WRAW, your number one music and information station. Roby Euster is coming up at 4:27 with the latest news, weather, and sports information. Right after we listen to T.G. Shepherd.
Just let me hold you by the fire. If it don't feel right, you can go.
WRAW and $1 Million Weekend with Paul Davis. It's going to be a cool night, so let me hold you real tight right by the firelight. Also heard Chris Christian, I Want You and I Need You. 4:36 with Bill Maxwell and WRAW has a romantic lunch for two at Bully Lions and also a special Valentine plan from Hoy's Flower Shop. And it's all for your loved one this weekend. Listen for your chance to call in and win on WRAW.
Buckle Ford in Chillington.
WRAW with the greatest hits of all time and $1 Million Weekend, 1969 Gold by Elvis in the Ghetto. Also heard Darryl Hall and John Oates from Private Eyes, and I Can't Go For That. 4:47 with Bill Maxwell playing your cartoons this afternoon. Hi.
He promised.
The first thick pad protection that isn't thick.
WRAW with a reminder from the Music Men on Saturday, February 13th, which is tomorrow. At 10 o'clock in the morning, a program outlining the Bureau of State Parks Bluebird program with information on what individuals can do to aid bluebirds will be offered at the Nolde Center. For more information on how you can help to restore bluebirds to their former habitat, contact the Nolde Center on the New Holland Road, Route 625. And remember, if it's happening, you'll hear it on Music Radio 1340. Music Radio 1340, WRAW with Cliff Richard from his album Wired for Sound and Daddy's Home. It's 4:52 with Bell. Roby Euster is coming up at 4:55 with the latest news, weather, and sports information. After we go back to 1979 with Dr. Hook, sharing the night together on WRAW. WRAW and $1 Million Weekend with Styx from 1979. That's Babe. 5:03 with Bill Maxwell. The sound of the Valentine Heart means special prizes for you or your loved one from WRAW. Listen for your chance to call in and win.
Take the second right turn onto the Bowmansville Road and follow the signs. to goods.
John Mazzo's annual February sale on quality men's and women's apparel is happening now. This is your opportunity to make an investment in traditional, timeless clothing at savings of up to one-half during John Mazzo's 34th anniversary year. You'll find 2- and 3-piece men's suits, including a fine selection of woolens, many at 50% off regular price. John Mazzo also features 50% reductions on all remaining ladies' winter apparel by Gordon of Philadelphia. So don't miss John Mazzo's February sale happening now. John Mazzo, 6th Street South, open daily 9:30 till 5. WRAW, your number one music and information station with Quarter Flash and Hard in My Heart. 12 minutes after 5 o'clock with Bill. And the WRAW official forecast, the traveler's advisory is in effect for Saturday morning. And we'll have snow beginning after midnight tonight, then ending before noon tomorrow. And that could amount to 2 to 4 inches. We'll have partial clearing and breezy tomorrow afternoon, with a low tonight mostly in the 20s and a high tomorrow at 35. Fair tomorrow night with a low 15 and partly sunny Sunday and a high at 36. Right now, 30 in Reading. And Roby is here with an update on what news is coming up at 5:26.
Thank you, Bill. Several calls coming up at 5:28.
WRAW, where have you the 13th caller right now on the love phone? You'll win a romantic lunch for two for you and your sweetheart, plus a special Valentine plan from Hoy's Flower Shop. Be the 13th caller right now at 372-1340 for your chance to win on WRAW. WRAW, and $1 million weekend with ABBA when all is said and done. There's no hurry anymore, that's for sure. It's back-to-back with Dolly Parton from the soundtrack 9 to 5, and it's also from her album 9 to 5 and other jobs. It's 5:19, 19 minutes after 5 o'clock with Bill Maxwell playing your cartoons. We're congratulating Elaine Chappelle of Reading. She called in and she heard that Valentine heartbeat. She called in and won a romantic lunch for two. She'll be taking her sweetheart by the name of Butch to Bowley Lions for that romantic lunch for two. And she'll also pick up a special Valentine plan from Hoy's Flower Shop. Now, you keep it on Music Radio for your chance to win with Chris Jordan coming up later on.
18th North 5th Street and Penn Square Center. Look for City Granary's ad in this Sunday's paper bridal section.
WRAW, your number one music and information station, 522. Roby Euster is coming up at 526 with the latest news, sports, and weather information right after Grover Washington Jr. WRAW with the greatest hits of all time and $1 million weekend with Kenny Rogers, and I'll be with you through the years. 5:45 with Bill Maxwell. And Roby Euster is coming up at 5:50 with the latest news, weather, and sports information. Howard Cosell will be speaking of sports at 5:55. You have a good night tonight and a good day tomorrow. Chris Jordan's in here at 6 o'clock with more of your favorites and also your chance to win at the sound of the heartbeat. This is Dan Fogelberg from his album The Innocent Age and the leader of the band on WRAW.